What is going on, everybody? And welcome to another episode of Pod Scum. This right here, as you should all know by now, is the podcast where we dive into the deep, dark, murky waters with a plethora of legendary guests. I am, of course, your host, your bastard of ceremonies, the number one scumbag, Rex Ruger. That's REXXX. You might also know me as AKA the King of Sleaze, AKA the Hair Metal High Priest, and most importantly, of course, AKA Diamond David Lee Roth Jr. Just spoke to my attorneys. The DNA testing is almost conclusive, and it will prove once and for all what we all know, that you are looking at the son of glam, the front man for the band. Just smoked a few grams. I got 1 million fans. I'm your ice cream man, Mr. Wop Bop a Loo Bop a Wop Bam Bam Shazam. Hot damn. Woo, I'm feeling good. Everybody in the house, including you all out there, looking good. For me, that is, of course, made possible by a little product placement. Got to do it. Got to do it in today's day. Little advertising. You want the quaff like Roth? I can't promise you'll look this good, but you'll get pretty close. Coming to you, as always, from the lush lavender lounge of love. Look at this fucking place, huh? And joined, as always, by the Keith Hernandez puppet, my sidekick, my co-host, my everything. The guy means the world to me. This is, of course, the No Frills podcast. You don't get any frills because you get something even better. And that, my friends, is thrills. And the thrill ought to be looking at Roth Jr. over here. And you, of course, Keith. Keith, of course, 1986 Met first baseman, all-time great. So, there is that. Again, today, another, I know what you're saying, Rex, how the fuck do you do it? Another kick-ass interview with a band. And of course, once again, proving that I am Mr. International, add that nickname to the repertoire. Mr. International, bringing you these great, talented people from all over the world. Today, we travel over to Amsterdam. Come on, who doesn't love the Netherlands? I mean, always with so much vision and forethought, way ahead of us on the old pot smoking rules. So, there is that. Let me turn my phone down here. Don't want any of that riffraff bleeding into the podcast. So, of course, it's also the No Frills podcast because yours truly doesn't know shit about technology. No editing, no fancy tricks, none of that shit. It's, it is what it is. You see me doing my thing right here. So, hey, want to throw this caveat out there. Love Sword, glam metal sleaze project of mine. Nobody seems to have the cojones to want to take me up on the offer. I know it's intimidating. It's intimidating to be the band behind the man, but irregardless, I still need players, virtuoso level or above. If that's you and you got the chops, hit me up. Hey, we only get one go around in this world. Know what I'm saying? So, hey, it is what it is. That being said, I would also like to throw out the caveat that at this time, we are up over 230 subscribers. So if you're watching this, please help a brother out. Like, subscribe, go back and peruse all the great content that's already there. 100 plus episodes at the time of this recording, and plenty more ass-kicking interviews with some legendary folks yet to come. And of course, do follow us on Facebook as well. Pod Scum on Facebook. But our guest is here. Enough. Let's chop it up with him on Pod Scum and get down to business. Christ's sakes. I feel like we should be playing the Jeopardy theme music here. So there he is. What's up?
Hey man, how are you?
You know what? Eventually we figure it out, right? I mean, technology is supposed to be making things so much easier, yet here we are, fucking struggling.
It's not. I know about recording software and email, and that's it.
Yeah, me too. I'm very limited. I mean, I'm 50 years old. I just didn't grow up in an era with technology. It wasn't prevalent, you know? I mean,
I did actually grow up in the modern area, but I still don't understand anything from it.
It's baffling. It's baffling. This is, of course, Marco from CRYPTOSIS. I don't want to butcher your last name. Is it PRIJ?
It's in Dutch we say PRIJ, but you're American, right?
Right. So you're expecting an American to fuck it up.
Yeah, but everybody says it the same way. So I'm used to it. It's okay. It's okay.
You are, of course, the drummer for CRYPTOSIS, and let me just tell you right off the rip right here that, you know, I know the album is a couple of years old, came out in 2021, your debut album, BIONIC SWARM, man, but it was so lauded by all the music critics and just praised for what it was, and it is an amazing album.
Thank you.
Yeah. But you know, the one thing I want to get to is, and I love what you guys did here. This is obviously a concept album, and this is a pretty prevalent problem that I think is going on. And I discuss this with my son all the time, who's obviously younger, more in that in that technology era than I was. But it seems like you guys are really writing a lot of songs that really point to the drawbacks of technology.
Yeah, you can pretty much have your own opinion about it. I mean, for us, the lyrics are free for everybody to see how they want it. But
right.
Yeah, it's the technology has a dark side too, and yeah, we write about stuff like that as well.
When you well, first of all, are you born and raised there in the Netherlands?
Yeah, we all are.
Wow, I gotta applaud the Netherlands right off the rip, man, because you guys have just had the forethought and the vision. You guys were way ahead of us over here with the with your marijuana laws. Always very loose over there, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's actually a good thing. We actually, but BIONIC SWARM, yeah, you seem to like it, but it was like 90% written under influence of weed.
That's great to hear. That's great to hear, man. I love that. I love that.
Thanks for the
what was your upbringing like though over there, man? Like how soon did you know that music was going to be the path you wanted to take? Did you have aspirations of doing anything else?
For me, I started playing drums when I was 8 years old, like officially on a drum kit. But when I was 4 or 5, I said to my parents, I'm really into music, listening music. I was discovering old rock music like AC/DC and Status Quo and that kind of stuff, and it really got me, and I wanted to play drums after seeing the drummer of Status Quo actually standing on an album cover, you know, looking the most badass of the band, and I told my father I want to be that, and ever since I've been playing drums. I studied music, I followed drum lessons like all my life, and I did an studio engineer school as well. But music has been, like my life. But yeah, it's the passion and everything, and slowly it turns into my work now. So that's super cool.
And as a drummer, you know, I don't want to ask you and word it in the influence question, you know what I mean? Because that just gets asked so much. But who are some guys as a drummer yourself who's playing you really enjoy? You know what I mean? Like when they're playing, you know, you really pay attention and just and love what they do.
There's a lot of drummers actually in a lot of different genres. But for example, Mickey D from Motorhead, I think that's my biggest inspiration in terms of hitting hard and grooving at the same time and making a show. I mean, he's an entertainer to watch too. I mean, his playing sounds good, but he looks good as well when he does it. And that's what really, that's what interests me, you know, in an artist. It can be a guitar player or a singer too. They need to have something that you like to see instead of only hear.
Right. So it like showmanship, right? Like you like some showmanship. You don't want just a guy back there just drumming. You know what I mean? Like you like a guy with a little pizzazz.
Yeah, but you want to see a musician enjoying himself on stage, you know, have fun at what you do. And Mickey always does it, in my opinion. Yeah. And the same goes for Nico McBrain from Iron Maiden. but also his right bell thingies and his fills. He has good taste in music in terms of playing, and I like it a lot. But for the metal guys, Gene Hoglan, Dave Lombardo, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Not the super fast blast beat guys, but the guys that play fast but also hard and groovy. That's more my thing.
And you guys just put the first album out in 2021. How did you three guys get together? Are you guys childhood friends? How did you guys meet? Like, what's the origins of this band?
We used to be another band, actually, with the same lineup. We have always been a three-piece band, but it used to be Distillator, our old band name. Oh, you got to write that down.
I'm going to write that down. Yeah, I am.
We used to play super old school thrash metal, like Super Destruction, Sodom style, old school stuff.
Yeah.
And we met at a show when they were playing with their old drummer. They had a drummer before me, just 1 year or something.
Yeah.
And I was playing there with the band I was in at the time. And we met backstage and had a beer and chatted a little, and we knew each other like a little bit. And then they put out auditions for a new drummer, and I wrote Frank, our bass player.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked him, "What's your goal with Distillator?" And he says, "We want to turn this into the coolest band of Europe." And I was like, "Yeah, I want to play in the coolest band of Europe." And I just auditioned, and it seems that I was the best drummer they had available at the time, and I stayed around since then.
And I'm interested in the fact that you guys are a three-piece, because there are instances of it in extreme metal, but you don't see it a lot because bands really want to go for like a thicker sound. You see a lot of guys with two guitar players. Traditionally you see a lot of 4 and 5 man bands. Has that ever been discussed amongst you three about like adding another layer of sound or having another guitar player? Not that it doesn't sound great with you guys as a three-piece, but is it something that's ever popped up?
Yes, actually, since the Distillator days, we were starting out as just one guitar, one bass, one drums, and it sounded pretty thin. Exactly, or especially, with solos. Guitar solos. There's a big gap in the guitars falling, and with this band, we never discussed bringing in an extra member, but we were always thinking of ways to make our sound bigger and better with just 3 people. So, for example, our guitar player now plays 2 amps. He plays stereo guitar at the same time. So you hear 2 amps, 2 caps, but it's one guy with a pedal that splits the guitar signal into milliseconds apart from each other. So it sounds even bigger. And Frank is playing bass and mellotron. So the synth effects, everybody calls it synthesizers and whatnot. Frank plays it actually with his bass, with an effect pedal.
Wow,
so
that's
cool. We do it all live, but as we talked about earlier, technology is coming in, so we do play with click tracks to synchronize our video show, and maybe on the next album some backing tracks will be added to make it even more. I mean, you got to go with the time. People expect to see a great show, so
sure.
You have to find a way to do it, and we're not gonna bring in a 4th guy for now.
And when you guys get together to write music, what's the creative process like? Does somebody come in with the lion's share of ideas, or is it a collaborative effort with all 3 of you guys?
Well, most of it actually is Frank and Lawrence. I'm not really a songwriter. I think I see myself more as a live player. I just want to play on stage or in a rehearsal room instead of fighting about details in a song or whatever. But it starts with a big database of riffs, actually, from Lawrence and Frank, and we organize them by tempo, and then we pick a couple that fits together, and we start to make songs from it. And when the songs are pretty much done, they will bring it to the rehearsal room, send me the demo with a drum computer, and then I'm starting to learn it, and there I will add my ideas. So the final product is always born in the rehearsal room, but the big lines are made already before they get here.
And what was the impetus, behind the concept of this album? I mean, I've read reviews on it. You guys kind of paint the picture of a dystopian future where technology seems to really be rampant and have really taken over and almost kind of swallowed up humanity. So to speak. It almost feels like technology is in control. Are these views that you guys sit around and talk about and share? Do you look at technology, from a certain standpoint and say, yes, it's allowing us to do a lot of things, but there are a lot of evils to it?
Yeah, we don't really talk about it a lot, but we share the same opinion. I mean, technology has its negative influences on society in general. I mean, what's the last time you've made a little talk with somebody on the train? Everybody is always on their phone, headphones on. Nobody seems to be socially connecting anymore.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing. And we think the downside of technology can be that you are traceable everywhere. Everybody can see what you're doing always, even when you think you're not being watched or whatever. We're not saying the government and the CIA and all that bullshit, but we are saying that the downsides of technology are coming in super fast now without us being aware of that.
Yeah. And it's so refreshing to hear somebody say that, because, I've been flying that flag for a while when I have conversations with my son, just about that very thing, like where you do see, human interaction has really dwindled down to, I'll even go into like last time I went into a Barnes and Noble, a bookstore we have over here. You just see all these college kids all sitting around in the cafe there, and nobody's interacting and talking. Everybody's
they're almost always texting and stuff. Yeah. I think it's a shame actually, but you can't help it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, and of course, you can say what you want about the influence of technology on the music world. I mean, a lot of the old school guys like me who love a physical product, are not really, wild about these streaming platforms and not going out and still getting a physical product. But again, as you said earlier, it's kind of one of those things where you kind of got to roll with the punches,
Yeah, but I also think, of course, having CDs and vinyls, something physical, it's super cool to have. But for me, Spotify is a great service to discover new stuff.
Yeah,
you click a playlist, you're listening whatever Slayer, and then it goes to another band you don't really like, and then 5 songs ahead there is a band that's like, hey, what's this? And you will never discover it by going to a record store and just, okay, I'm gonna buy this album and hope it's good. Nobody would ever do it. So it has downsides, it has good sides too.
Now, obviously, being a drummer and playing the type of music that you do, extreme metal, it's it's certainly a very physically demanding job. When you're out there playing live, are there preparations that you make? I mean, because it obviously certainly has its rigors and its demands when you're out there actually playing. I mean, are you like one of these physical fitness guys, or do you have to warm up a lot? What's the what's the preparation like when you're going to go out and just play with that kind of a pace?
Well, I can make a super interesting story about everything, warm-ups and eating healthy and going to the gym. I do none of it all. I just sit down and fucking play. But I play in a band in Sweden too, and those guys are a little bit older, as they say themselves. But they are actually, and they warm up, and they say, when I was 27, I'm 27 now. We would just walk on stage and just go, super fast. But
sure,
the bones are getting older, and we can't do it anymore. And
you're telling me.
Maybe it's my age, and in 10 years I really have to warm up. But we'll see.
Yeah, I'm 50 years old. You'll find out one day, hotshot. You'll find out.
I know. Yeah, I'm so scared of it, actually.
So I would be remiss if I didn't ask, and I would probably hear about it from from viewers. We got this great album from you guys, BIONIC SWARM, in 2021. What's next? How far into the process of the next album are you guys?
Well, pretty far actually. I don't know if nah, this is a secret actually. We're gonna
Okay,
do
fair enough.
something.
I respect
No,
that.
but we're gonna do something this weekend, and there will be new music sooner than people expect, I think.
Okay. Okay.
But we're within the next couple of months, so we're working super hard on it. But there has to be an album, 8 songs or 9 songs, and we are super picky and selective about
Yeah.
what goes on the album and what we will skip. So it will take, yeah, a few more months to finish the writing. But let's say we are into 5 or 6 songs that are pretty much to our liking, and we actually play them in the rehearsal studio to finish the details. So it's going pretty, but there's still a lot of work to do.
And you guys sit around because, as I just mentioned, I mean, there's a lot of varying opinions in the music world right now. You're seeing a lot of people releasing singles. You're seeing a lot of people, and again, I think this points back to the technology and how much people's attention span has really dwindled down, where they're just kind of like, they're so busy throughout their day that when they find time to listen to music, they almost feel like, I think artists sometimes feel that pressure to say, geez, I've got to constantly keep my name out there and stay relevant, or people are going to forget, what I mean? So you see a lot of people releasing singles or EPs. Do you guys sit around as a band and conscientiously talk about like, hey, here's the way we want to release music? I mean? Do you guys want to keep doing full-length albums?
Well, it's actually a subject we talk about a lot, and I think, I think, and we all think that actually bringing out albums is pretty much out of this date. I mean, it's super cool to have an album with a cover and 45 minutes of music, but it's a shitload of work to write an album, record it. It's super expensive too.
Sure.
For the mixing, mastering, blah blah blah. You know the story, and then you put it out. You're on the on Facebook and Instagram, and on if you're lucky, you get booked for festivals for one summer, and you are in the spotlight for now maybe 4-5 weeks if you're lucky, and then there's 25,000 other albums out, and then people are like, okay, yeah, now I'm gonna check that, and you are soon forgotten. So we think actually it would make way more sense to release 3 EPs instead of one album, just to be in the picture. But we have a management, and we have a label too. We are with Central Media, and they are kind of old school thinking, which is good because it works for them. But we disagree on some points, and it's gonna be an album for sure. There will be an album, but if it was up to us, we would do 2 or 3 EPs just to be in the picture, as you said. It would make more sense actually, but the world is not ready for adjustment, I think.
Yeah. So what was COVID like for you guys over there when everything was hunkered down and the world went into quarantine? You guys put your album out in 2021. The year before that is when COVID hit. What were you guys doing? Were you writing the album? Were you recording the album? How did COVID affect you guys?
Yeah, we were actually doing a lot of stuff in COVID, but writing the album was one of those things. But we kept on doing the rehearsals too. I mean, we have like a private rehearsal space we don't share with any other bands, so it was safe for us to go there without spreading anything. So we kept on playing, and we kept on writing, and I kept on playing a lot as well. But COVID was not such a fun time for us, like for everybody, because live music, you can be in a band, and do everything you want, but if you can't play shows, there will be a point where your motivation drops to absolutely zero to play or to write anything. And so playing shows actually motivates me to play more music at home. But if you don't play shows, you are can take a few months, but you will reach the point of, okay, fuck it,
Now tell me about your role. And correct me if I'm wrong on this, but when I was gathering information and some points to talk to you about, you've also done some work playing with a couple of other bands. You've helped out Pestilence before.
Yeah, exactly 1 year ago. This weekend. Yes, true.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And yeah, how do those guys tap you to come and help them out? Do you know them previously, or do you
Yeah.
audition, or do you reach out to them? Do they reach out to you?
No, we toured with Pestilence in 2000. What was it? I have to. Oh, the poster is not here. I think it's 2019. It can be 18 too.
Yeah,
We toured with them in Europe, but they had a totally different lineup back then. So it was only Patrick on guitar and vocals,
yeah,
And yeah, we met him and we chilled a little bit, but yeah, it was like we knew each other. And then there came a new lineup with all Dutch guys, super great guys, and
yeah.
that drummer was playing in Karag Angren at the same time. I still can't pronounce the name, but the horror black metal band,
Yeah.
He was doing a lot of shows with them, and he asked me to fill in for Pestilence whenever he got a double booking.
Yeah,
And
I've actually had Rutger on here before, the guitar player. Super
Rutger.
nice guy. Oh,
Yeah,
great.
he's great, and
Yeah.
yeah, they are all super nice guys, and that's why I played with them, and I like the music too, of course.
And then what about work that you've done with the great Flotsam and Jetsam?
Oh, that was interesting job for me actually. I got called 2 days before the start of the tour that Ken couldn't fly to Europe, so the band flew to Europe, and on the best of luck to see what they could get here. And then they reached out to me if I could learn a set list of 16 songs in one day. And I tried my best. I learned 14, but that was the maximum. I mean, my brain was toasted after a full day of learning.
Yeah.
Friday morning, they came here to my house actually to do a small rehearsal. We played every song once. And then the next day we were on the main stage of Into the Grave Festival in the Netherlands for like 4,000 or 5,000 people. So that was, the interesting times, let's say.
I always fly the flag for those guys. I think that they are one of the most criminally underrated thrash bands, ever. And I've had the privilege of having a couple of them on. I've had Eric on. I've had Michael on here, and again, another band just with great guys. They really are great guys.
Yes, yeah. I don't know how I got so lucky, but I always play with nice people. For some reason, I've never played with guys that I didn't like, but you don't know from if they ask you for a session gig, you don't know what the guys are like. They can be assholes, but you will find out once you're on the tour bus. So I'm lucky so far.
And when you guys put out new music, what is the plan? Like, a band in your position, who's young and just kind of starting out, when you put out your next album, what is the goal for a band like nowadays? Is it getting on a big tour? Is it landing a huge album? How do you get notoriety and catapult CRYPTOSIS to the next level?
Oh, that's super hard actually. For us, the goal is to play a lot of shows and to play festivals too, and to go on tour. I mean, you put out an album and then you can promote the album by doing tours and doing shows. And for me, that's the most thing to do actually. But I don't know how you can measure your level of success. I mean, if you play 6 tours a year, I don't know if that makes you a big band or not.
Well, it seems like that formula used to be a lot easier back in the day when like record labels were much more prevalent, and it seemed like it was a label saw you, they snapped you up and they signed you, and they put money behind you, they put you out on the road and everything, and now the formula is not so simple anymore.
No, not really. But I must say the deal with Central Media for us, it's super good, and we got on Central Media actually by. We were lucky. We were actually on I don't know, our demo I think was in the trash can already. So and then Philip came, the big boss there, and he found a CD and he listened to it and he liked the first 2 songs I think, And then he wrote us, can you send the album on MP3 file so I can listen to it in the car? And a few weeks later, we had to deal with Central Media. But the guy that goes like, okay, we signed this artist and this artist already says, okay, CRYPTOSIS may not be the best fit for us, but the big boss himself wanted us to become a Central Media band, which is fucking awesome, of course.
Hell yeah, yeah.
But, I don't know, labels, some bands do independent, and we choose to be on a label because it's promotion too. Financial, it's a little bit. I mean, they don't give you so much money and go have fun. There's a few rules attached to it, but it helps in a lot of ways to have a partner like that to distribute and promote your music. Yeah.
So Century Media is not just footing the bill for like all kinds of cocaine and hookers. No, that's out. That's out.
No, if that was the case, we wouldn't be alive by now, I think.
Well, I'm interested though. BIONIC SWARM was really, as I said at the top of the interview, really lauded by by music critics and just really put up on a pedestal, and great things were said about it. I've read a lot of quotes. It was the best thrash release of 2021. I mean, people really responded to this album. Do you guys sit around and ever read that kind of stuff, or is that kind of stuff you just kind of turn a blind eye to?
No, we actually try to read as much as possible, but on all the different platforms and all the different internet magazines and whatever, you can't keep track on what people say about you. But we do read Facebook comments, of course, all YouTube comments, and sometimes we get personal messages on Instagram or Facebook from a guy on the other side of the world that really likes it, and we send it over to each other because, of course, it's the crown on your hard work. If people actually like music, you think people will like when you're playing it in the rehearsal studio and you're recording the album. I mean, you like it, but if the people don't like it and the people don't buy your album, you're out of the game, So we're super lucky with everything that people say about the album. Everybody is super positive about it, and of course, you always got the haters, but. Yeah, I mean,
well, when you put out an album though and set the bar that high right out of the gate with a debut album, is there pressure on you guys though to to equal that album or to supersede that album because it was such an impressive debut album? Do you guys put that kind of pressure on yourselves?
Yeah, actually, we are sometimes when a demo comes on, we use Google Drive to share ideas. We are like, dude, this is level before BIONIC SWARM, and this is level after BIONIC SWARM, and everything after BIONIC SWARM stays in the folder, and everything that was before is in the trash can.
Is all the material, like how do you guys decide like what stays and makes the cut and what doesn't? Is there somebody with the overriding say, or do you guys kind of put it to a vote, or how do you decide what makes the cut?
Well, it's basically when we're putting the songs together, it's like we have this riff, and this riff, and then we or Lawrence and Frank, they tell me this is the verse, this is the chorus, and this is a bridge. And then maybe I don't like the bridge, or we switch the riffs around and it will be better, or we put in another riff, in Cubase, we click it together like a puzzle. Yeah. Until there's a song starting to take shape, and from there we work towards a real song. But the demos actually, sometimes I don't like ideas, or Lawrence doesn't like ideas, and we skip them from the song, and we take another riff and put it in, and there we go. It's like, making a puzzle.
Yeah. Over in your neck of the woods right now, where you are, what is the music scene around you guys like?
Ooh. Like the scene in general, or what scene we are in?
Yeah, the scene that you guys are in over there in your neck of the woods, in your part of the world. What's the scene like in your general area there?
Damn it, that's actually super hard to say, because we still see a lot of thrash metal fans, like Battle Jackets, Master of Puppets, Backpatch people. Yeah. But we also see some black metal people coming to our shows, or death metal people. Always, we see a lot of different people at our gigs, so I can't really tell if we are in the thrash metal scene or in the black metal scene or whatever. It's super mixed, actually.
What about the bands in your area, though?
In our area,
is it a good scene? Is it a good metal scene there, or are you guys one of the few metal bands in your area?
There is a good scene. Not really where I live. We have some local death metal bands, but there's not really a place for them to go to, except for 1 or 2 bars where they can play once or twice a year, and then for the rest, it's kind of hard here. Lawrence and Frank actually live in a bigger city, and there's a pretty good, I wouldn't say metal scene. There's a music scene. So there's a lot of bars where bands can play, and sometimes it's jazz evening, sometimes blues, and sometimes metal. So bands get a lot of opportunities to go and play shows if they want. And the venues in the Netherlands are pretty sick too.
Are there any thrash metal bands, that you guys look at as a band collectively and say, that's a band that we admire, or that's a band that we aspire to be like? Does the band itself, have a band that you guys all agree on? You know what I mean? That you almost kind of like, are molding your career after?
We're not really molding our career after, but we are, the 3 of us have a super different taste in music, actually.
Okay.
But there's a couple bands that we really enjoy listening to, like all 3 of us, and one of them is our friends from Vector. I know it's a hot topic to some people, but Vector is just in terms of songwriting and musicality and skills, they are just amazing. And every thrash metal band should look up to them, in my opinion. But there's a lot of different stuff, actually. We are Dimmu Borgir fans because of the orchestra and the riffs and the bombastic kind of stuff, that really, it's just in your face. That's what we really like. Dissection is a band we all like. Megadeth, because of the guitar playing, that's something we all listen to. What else? There's a lot of stuff, but our tastes in music, they all go like super wide apart.
Are you guys gonna, without tipping off too much of what we have in store coming on down the line from you guys, will there be a big departure or any changes or tweaks to the current sound that people got used to on BIONIC SWARM? Will there be any drastic changes, or will this, because I always find that very interesting with bands, because you get a lot of bands who change their sound, and then the fans crap all over them for it. But then when they, when they stay consistent, then everybody says they're boring and they don't do anything different. So you really are kind of fucked in that sense as an artist, because, as you said earlier, you're always going to have your haters on there who are going to say, this sounds like BIONIC SWARM. But then, when you change the sound, then you're going to be like, what the fuck did they do? This isn't anything like BIONIC SWARM. You know what I mean?
There's a fine line in between keeping people entertained, but exactly what you said. And actually, BIONIC SWARM is written as the 3rd Distillator album. Okay. But we used to be a super old school thrash metal band, and these songs came out, and we were like, it's not Distillator anymore. Just like Metallica after the Black Album. We all know the story. You like them before or after the Black Album. And we didn't want that, so we decided to stop Distillator, make a new band name and a new image to it, and then start CRYPTOSIS. But CRYPTOSIS is actually written, BIONIC SWARM is written as a thrash metal band. Yeah. So, and now that we are CRYPTOSIS, with all options wide open, because we don't have to write thrash metal anymore. We're not anymore in the box. So now we can go all kinds of directions, and it's going all kinds of directions. But the album, as it's taking shape right now, I would say listen to BIONIC SWARM like it's on mushrooms or something. Okay. There will be super hard stuff, but they're all, it has a lot of stuff, actually. It's kind of a tripping thing, but you will hear CRYPTOSIS back in the new album.
Will there be a concept to the album at all? Because obviously BIONIC SWARM, certainly I would consider it a concept album.
Yes. We're still discussing about it will be a concept album. That's kind of our thing.
Yeah.
We did it with Distillator too. But Bionic Swarm was super ahead in the future. So we are talking about what to do next, go more into the future or go in this time of, or maybe go back. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
It's still open for discussion. The lyrics are always the last thing we write. We always have the music down first and then the concept lyrics, and then it will start to
Yeah.
take shape.
Well, it's interesting that you talked about the genres and you guys being outside of the box, so to speak. Because obviously, and especially in the metal world, it seems like things have to be categorized. You know, what I mean, these genres, and then they have subgenres, and those have subgenres, and everything has to fit into a neat. Everything has to fit into a neat little box. So at the end of the day, what do you consider CRYPTOSIS? Do you consider you guys a thrash band or a metalcore band or a death metal band? Like,
no, we have no idea actually, which makes it pretty hard to explain to people what you're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a drum teacher myself, and I teach drums to students. And whenever somebody walks in here for the first time for a trial lesson,
yeah,
I always tell them, yeah, I play in a band. And then, oh, what kind of band? And I always say a metal band. It's not a thrash metal band. It's not black metal. It's super hard to explain. But
yeah.
I'm like, I play in a metal band, and I have no fucking clue what of metal it is.
Yeah, I have no way to elaborate.
People always compare bands to other bands. We have some bands in the area here. Also for example, Distillator was always the next Destruction or Sodom or whatever.
Right.
It's always Distillator sounds like blah blah blah.
Right.
And now we have CRYPTOSIS sounds like, you can name 10 bands, but you can also say, okay, maybe there's something different to it.
Right.
That's actually what we are trying to do, because look at all the big bands right now. I mean, Rammstein, there's only one band that sounds like Rammstein.
Right.
Slipknot the same, Ghost, like them or not, they have a sound, and that's what people like.
So you guys are conscientiously trying to kind of carve out your own sound.
Well, it basically comes naturally.
Yeah.
We are not writing riffs and then, oh no, this is too much Slayer, or this is too much Maiden. But we are not looking into specific albums or songs and take inspiration from that. It's always it's in the hands, and whatever comes out. It can be a black metal song, it can be super atmospheric and dark, or it can be super brutal, it can be whatever. So yeah.
Now, how did you get bit by the bug to do this teaching? Is teaching something that's kind of in your blood, or was it one of those things where you're like, you wanted to supplement your income? Is you play drums, you got into teaching? Is this something you have a passion for?
Well, music is my passion in general. Or
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, music, yes, and playing drums even more. And I've always teach kids how to play drums, even when I was 15 years old. My kids from the neighborhood, they would come here every once in a while for a few drum lessons so they could play at home. And I was like, yeah, if I turn this into a business, it's more fun than go to the office 9 to 5,
Much
5 days a week. That totally kills your inspiration too, because that's my biggest problem. If you have a full-time job, you come home at dinner time and you eat, you fall asleep on the couch, and then you're not doing anything anymore, and your brain is not into songwriting mode or in music mode. And I'm behind the drum kit all day, so whenever I'm playing with a student, ideas come to me, and it's being creative, actually. Super cool.
Are any of the students that you have right now, are any of the students into playing extreme metal themselves?
Yeah, well, extreme metal, like, not really. But if you mean extreme metal, like Slayer and Arch Enemy, we play some stuff, and Asphyx, the Dutch death metal band.
Oh, of course.
It's super straightforward, like Obituary. It's forward, death
Yeah.
metal. There's not a lot of thinking. There's a lot of playing, and some people really like that. But they are not into super hard blast beats or heel toe techniques and 300 BPM stuff. And I'm not into that either. So
Yeah, I can hear that. I can hear that on the music too, and that's actually refreshing. You know what I mean? That you can maintain that heaviness, but still be able to find a nice pocket and a nice groove. You know?
exactly, yeah. There's more in life than blast beats, and
Yeah.
and double bass. And of course, as a metal band, people expect you to play them. Blast beats maybe not so much, but double bass is something that every metal band needs to have, or you're not a metal band, or whatever people say about it. So
Right.
I can play fast, but I like to play more tasty stuff,
Yeah.
groove. And I mean, if you have a blast beat, why should you put a blast beat in a song if you have 10 million other options?
Right. Right.
It's always, or it has to fit the music. Of course, a lot of bands sound great with blast beats, but for us, there's more. So
And you obviously, you mentioned you're spending a lot of time behind the drum kit between playing live and recording with your band and also teaching.
mhm,
When you get when you get downtime, what kind of stuff do you do away from music?
playing guitar.
Another instrument, huh?
Yeah, of course. I got some guitars here. I'm working on a bit of music myself. Nothing really solo project, but every now and then I come up with a riff and I try to make a song from it. What else do I do? Yeah, I'm not really into hobbies or something. I
Yeah.
don't watch movies. I don't really do Netflix or no Nintendos and PlayStations. It's
Oh, me
basically
neither. Yeah,
it's
I can't
it's
do the video
basically,
games.
it's music, music all week except for Sunday. Sunday is barbecue day, so I get up.
Sunday's barbecue day,
Oh
really?
yeah, and we make the big dishes that you're cooking all day, for dinner. It's not just a burger on it and eat it. It's super. Yeah, so Sunday is cooking day when the weather is nice. So
Boy,
now
you're
it's
lucky.
summer
Boy, you're
here.
lucky. I'll tell you, man, you're lucky that I don't live closer. I'd be over. I'd be over for a good
Well, you're
burger.
welcome. You're welcome if you have.
And as are you guys if you make it over to the States. Listen, man, I'll make up the guest bedroom, no problem.
That's
Come on
cool.
over. But
Actually, that might come in handy because I heard if you tour the States, you are supposed to sleep with the last guy in the venue.
yeah, you
It's
probably
either
should. You
to
probably
sleep in
should.
the van or crash at the one or two guys that are left in the venue totally wasted, and let's
Yeah,
see what happens.
and
So
and and are is that the big aspiration of you guys though? Have you guys come to the States and played yet or no?
we played twice on the 70,000 tons of metal cruise, but that's
Okay,
everything we did it's not even in the States officially. It's on the water, but
okay,
yeah, we've been near the States, let's say. But we are working on future plans, of course. But it's super hard for us to get to the States because of work visas and everything. The expenses for a European band to tour in the States are super high.
yeah.
And
I
American
imagine that.
bands
Yeah,
can come here to tour and just fly in and have fun, make money. But you guys have a different set of rules that are, yeah, they are hard.
yeah. Well, yeah. Well, and I also think too that there is a big difference between, and I talked about this with other musicians on here. There is a pretty big glaring difference between, American audiences and the European audiences. Like you guys really over in Europe really have a lot of festivals in comparison to what we have here, especially metal festivals. And I've
Yeah.
always found that very interesting. You know what I mean? But and I can't really put a finger on like why that is. But I guess it just boils down to, and I can even say this as an American, it just seems like the European audiences, they just seem to be much more passionate about their metal. I don't want to say that we're not passionate, but it always seems like our festivals here always get marred with a lot of riffraff and bullshit. And it seems like the European audiences really know how to get out there and celebrate the music.
Hmm. Yeah, but what you're saying is true. But I think we have too many festivals.
Yeah, you do have a lot.
We got a lot, and I am playing with my Swedish band on a festival in Prague in June, so somewhere in June. And
Yeah.
just today, I got a text message if I could fill in for a band on Grass Pop. I do a Graspop Metal meeting in Belgium,
Yep.
and it's the same weekend. And
Awesome.
another example is a week later we play with CRYPTOSIS. We play Rock Imperium in Spain, but the same weekend is another super huge festival in Germany, and I was asked to play there too. But it's all at the same time. It's in one weekend there's like 6 or 7 festivals, and I think if you put like the Netherlands and Belgium together, make one big grass pop, or one in the south and one in the north, pre-summer and after summer, everybody can come to the same festival instead of picking, because a lot of festivals are going bankrupt right now. Ticket sales are super low. Life is getting super expensive.
Yeah.
Sure, because of whatever reason. So people are making choices, and they are not going to 6 festivals anymore, but they are going to 2, and then they have to choose which one. So everybody is losing in the end.
Yeah, it's fiscally just impossible just to make it to everything. It is.
Yeah,
it's hard.
Also,
and I think too, people are, as you said, people have to be very conscientious of where and how they spend their money. I mean, and I think really good hardcore fans, I know that I ascribe to this rule. When I go someplace, I always like to get a piece of merch, because I realize that's important to bands. I mean, so a lot of times by the time you get a ticket and merch and all this other stuff, I mean, you do drop some money.
No, yeah, you have to go there. I mean, gas is super expensive.
Yeah.
Lately, you have to drink something, it's more expensive. You have to eat, it's more expensive. Merch is expensive. It didn't really get more expensive, but I mean, it's still 20 or 30 euros or dollars what you spend extra. If you do that twice a week, it adds up.
Well, I got to say, I checked out some of your merch on your site, though. You guys do merch very well. I love the shirts. I love the designs. Everything just looks great.
Oh, that's nice. That's good to hear. We will bring
you guys. How big of a hand do you guys have in the merch?
We do it all ourselves, actually.
Yeah.
Frank does the design, or bass player. He's a graphic designer. That's actually his work too. He makes our websites and everything you see on Facebook. With a photoshopped thing with show list or whatever Frank does. And Lawrence does the web shop. So if you order something from the web shop, Lawrence will pack it and bring it to the postal office.
And then what about that? What about how about the fantastic album cover for BIONIC SWARM? Who is that also Frank?
No. That's Eliran Kantor.
Okay, and who is he? He's a friend of yours?
No, he's a pretty famous guy. I don't know if he's super famous in the States too, but he worked with Halloween. He worked, I think he did Creator. Correct me if I'm wrong. Havoc for sure. He works with a lot of super big bands actually, and we just wanted an artist that's into the metal scene, know what a metal band wants, and for sure we have a good product.
Well, I'm telling you, man, I can't say how excited I am to get new music from you guys. And, I'm so glad that I came across, the BIONIC SWARM album. And, I found you guys like through, as you said, when you go to the music platforms, they kind of, if you search up a certain band on Apple Music, it'll give you suggestions of, oh, if you like this band, you might like these bands here. Yes. And that's kind of how I came across you guys. And, you guys hooked me right in right away. I mean, this is really a fantastic album. It's, I guess, at the expense of not wanting to pigeonhole you guys, I've seen it described a lot as, progressive thrash. I mean, there is certainly a high level of proficiency in playing going on here. I mean, you guys are obviously extremely honed at your craft. You can hear that on the album.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Actually, I play a lot. I mean, I've always played a lot, even practice and band rehearsals and whatever. I just like to play drums, and Lawrence and Frank are more songwriters, I think.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, still they spend a lot of time with the guitars in their hands, to write the music and to do whatever we do. Live shows makes you a good musician. Actually, you can follow all the lessons you want, but you learn to really master your instrument on stage, in my opinion.
It's like baptism by fire. You got to get out there and you got to make your bones.
Yes, exactly. And luckily we play a lot of shows to keep our muscles smooth and our fingers working, and everything still works.
Yeah,
so play a lot and you will get better. It's no rocket science, you know. If you want to be a good musician, you have to play a lot.
Yeah. Well, listen, man, I appreciate you coming on here, man, and I am really rooting for CRYPTOSIS world fucking domination. It's gonna happen, buddy. It's gonna fucking happen. We're taking over.
I hope so.
We're taking over. Yeah,
we are.
We're taking over. And when you guys make it over to the States, I'll get the guest bedroom ready. You bring some of that good Dutch weed with you, and you know.
Yeah, let's bring that across the border. That sounds like a fucking good idea.
Yeah, that's probably you scratch that last part, Marco. That's awful advice. Don't do that. Don't do that. I want you guys to make it over here.
You have pretty good stuff in the States as well.
Yes, I'll take care of that part. I'll take care of the lodging and the weed. Don't worry about that. Yeah.
We have a deal. We have a deal.
Yeah, it was really good talking to you, Marco. You know, when I put your episode up, I'll send you the link and feel free to share it. And you know, definitely keep in touch. And hopefully we can get on here and we can do it again sometime.
Of course, man. I'm looking forward to meet you someday.
Yes, absolutely. Awesome. Yeah, thanks so much, Marco. I appreciate you, buddy. Thank you.
Thank you, man. Enjoy
your
day.
Talk to you soon, buddy. Yep.
Cheers,
later.
Bye-bye.
Yep. Later, brother. There he goes, folks. That is Marco from CRYPTOSIS. This is a band that you need to go fucking check out. The debut album 2021's BIONIC SWARM is a progressive thrash masterpiece. There, I fucking said it. A three-piece band that you will not believe that there are only three guys in this band. They sound like a goddamn thrash symphony, man. These guys know their craft and they know it well. Great band from over in the Netherlands, of course. What else would you expect from Mr. International, but bringing you not only legends, but legends from other countries. That's what I do. That's what I do. I mean, of course, I talk to our, our folks here in the States as well, but I reach out. The PodScum universe extends. It transcends. So please go out and check out CRYPTOSIS. You heard they got new music on the way. They are a great band. Marco, Frank, Lawrence, go out and check those guys out. A phenomenal three-piece. You will not be fucking sorry. Go check out BIONIC SWARM. A great concept album about the dangers of technology and the effects on a dystopian, futuristic society. Just really great songwriting, song crafting, a high level of musicianship. These boys can fucking play their asses off, and I can't say enough good shit about them. Go check out CRYPTOSIS on all your platforms, and go search up where they're playing and what they're doing, man. They are a great band. The Rex Ruger PodScum stamp of approval. So I hope you guys enjoyed that episode as much as I enjoyed chopping it up with Marco, and I want to thank him for being here. And until we get together and do this thing again, remember, kids, take it easy and keep it sleazy.